800 Vikings, outnumbered 50 to 1. Yet on a battlefield soaked with blood, they carved through 40,000 enemies. How did a handful of Norse warriors achieve the impossible, and what really happened on that fateful day? This is the story of courage, cunning, and carnage.
By the 9th and 10th centuries, Viking raiders were feared across Europe. They stormed monasteries, toppled kingdoms, and terrorized entire coastlines. But sometimes their enemies gathered vast armies to crush them once and for all. One such encounter would become legend, the clash where 800 Vikings faced tens of thousands.
The Vikings were not battling a few villagers this time. Their foes, 40,000 strong, were an alliance of kingdoms armed with spears, shields, and cavalry. On paper, the Norsemen had no chance, but numbers alone do not win wars.
Viking commanders knew they could not match their foes in open combat. Instead, they relied on discipline, shield walls, and cunning tactics. Unlike many medieval armies, the Vikings fought as a single unit, each warrior trained to hold the line. Their greatest weapon was not brute strength, but unity.
As the enemy advanced, the Vikings locked shields into a wall of iron. Behind them, axes, spears, and swords waited. When the clash came, the shield wall absorbed the first waves, and the counter-strikes were devastating. It was as if 800 men fought as one giant beast.
To the enemy, the sight was terrifying. Towering warriors, faces painted, weapons dripping with runes, roared like beasts. Viking war cries, mixed with horns and drums, echoed across the field. Fear spread faster than arrows, and fear kills as surely as steel.
But brute defense was only the beginning. The Vikings feigned retreats, lured enemies into ambushes, and struck with speed. Their small numbers allowed them to move like wolves around a lumbering herd. Every time the enemy thought victory was near, the Norse struck back harder.
The battlefield itself favored the Northmen. They chose ground that funneled their enemies into narrow fronts, negating overwhelming numbers. Mud, rivers, and forests became Viking allies. Trapped soldiers could not bring their full strength to bear, while the Norsemen cut them down in waves.
Then came the Berserkers. Stripped of armor, clad in furs, and howling like animals, they charged headlong into the fray. Fueled by rage, or perhaps ritual drugs, they fought with a madness that shattered enemy morale. Even the bravest knights recoiled at the sight. Hours turned to chaos. The enemy line broke under its own weight, soldiers trampling each other in panic. The Vikings pressed forward with relentless fury. What began as a war of numbers turned into a massacre of the many by the few. Did 800 Vikings truly slay 40,000? Chroniclers love to exaggerate, and medieval records blur fact with legend. Yet even if numbers swelled in the telling, the essence is true. The Vikings again and again defeated armies many times their size through discipline, fear, and ferocity.
The story echoed through Europe. Kings who thought the Norse were mere raiders now knew they could fight and win pitched battles. The legend of 800 against 40,000 became part of the mythos of the Viking Age, proof that no number could guarantee victory against men who fought like gods.
So why did the Vikings prevail?
Not just rage, but discipline. Not just steel, but cunning. And above all, the unshakable will to fight together, no matter the odds. That was their true strength.
In the clash of 800 versus 40,000, history remembers not the defeated horde, but the few who defied the impossible. The story reminds us that courage, unity, and strategy can outweigh numbers. The Vikings did not just raid, they conquered legend itself.
Thank you for watching. If this story of Viking fury fascinated you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more forgotten battles of history.